today, you can see right behind me there from St. George's Church in Long Lake, or the Church of St. George as they call it. Whatever, same difference to those of us that are not big on the Catholic faith. But I thought I'd come up here and reveal a little bit of information I found out today, because sometimes people just hand you stuff that is beyond comprehension. Beyond comprehension. And that's what Orono Mayor Walsh has done for us. So I'm going to talk about that in a minute. But first, let's talk about Corn Days. Coming up this Saturday, all day long. It's going to be a good time. They got some sort of a marathon in the morning. They got a breakfast. They got a silent auction that's online even. You get online and do the silent auction. They got bingo from 1 to 3. Now, when I was a kid, bingo lasted a lot longer than that. And I got to tell you, it was really fun because the old ladies didn't like me coming in and whooping some butt when it came time to bingo. But somehow that's what I used to do around here. But I encourage everybody to attend the parade. I really encourage everybody to attend the parade on Saturday. That's always a good time. And, you know, this event, Corn Days, has gone on for years and years and years. Matter of fact, as long as I can remember. You know, I grew up over on North Arm in Orono. And now here I am in the church parking lot for St. George's, or Church of St. George. And I can remember attending this as long as I can live. Now, it was different back then. Corn Days was Corn Days. They, right back over here behind me, right back behind me here, they actually had big tubs that they would boil up, and they would dump the corn in just by the bagful, it seemed, and you get a little stamp on your hand. You come show them the stamp for like $2 or $3, and you'd be eating corn all day long. Fresh grown Minnesota corn, you know. And a little different today, you know, we're paying, geez, $7 a half a dozen, and sometimes $9 or more. It's crazy how much they want for corn in the state of Minnesota. This is where the stuff comes from. You know, I'm sorry, I'll get back to Corn Days, but when I was a kid, my mom used to come home, how you doing, with a grocery bag full of corn for $2 or $3 and say, here's supper. Go peel them and boil them and eat them. She'd get the pot going and she'd boil them up. And that was supper time. Minnesota's got a huge, long history with corn, as we well know. And the corn around here is some of the best. Yeah, thanks for the facts there. We don't necessarily need to point that out. That's like 1975, 76, 78. Somewhere in there. And this festival here has been going on that long, and it's still here. I can remember this church and how it's always been a part of the community. How it's always helped the community. And there's always been good people in here. Now, I got confirmed Episcopalian out at St. Martin's by the Lake many, many moons ago. And I kind of always looked at the Episcopalians as Catholics without the rules. We still had the long services, not nearly as bad. Same type of service, but it was Catholics without the rules as far as I was considered. But then we come up here to this festival, and it'd be a great, great time. How you doing? Good. Trying to tell everybody about Corn Days so they'll get their butt up here this weekend. That's a goal. So anyways, back to Corn Days. Actually, I got one more story I can tell you quick. If y'all want to hear the story of my youth, I'll give you one more real quick. There came a point in my life where I chose to work and I bought my own car, and I was not quite 16, I was 15. So I parked it right back there, and that was just gravel back then, right up under the trees. And I left it there for a month until I had the guts to tell my mom what was going on. But I'll tell you this, these people didn't care. They let it sit there. They didn't cause any issues. The car was never towed. They were just respectful that maybe someone got something to work out in their life. And so that was great. But back to Corn Days. I do have a stake in Corn Days. I've got a stake in Long Lake. In fact, when I drove into Long Lake today, I could take a deep breath and go, ah, The air is just cleaner here. I'm sorry, I've lived in Orono so long, I guess I've gotten used to the oppressive atmosphere created by the city council and everything else over there. But here in Long Lake, it's just like a breath of fresh air. Now, we all may or may not know that the city of Long Lake is completely surrounded by the city of Orono. And the city of Orono, actually years ago when I was on the council, Planning Commission Council, wanted or gave Long Lake the opportunity to vote and join Orono. And you know what the city of Long Lake said through that referendum? We ain't interested. We ain't interested at all. We want to be Long Lake. And I went around and, because, you know, I grew up in Long Lake most of my childhood. And I was up on 2140 Grand, and I lived on 87 Inglewood. So, you know, this is more my hometown than Orono, but it's both the same. It's all the same, right? To an extent. Well, people of Long Lake, what did they tell me when I went around and knocked? Because I just wanted to ask. We don't want to pay for their roads. We don't want to pay for their problems. You know what? We'd rather just take care of ourselves. Now, what did that tell me? That told me that Long Lake had its own distinct identity. They were concerned about it, and they cared about it, and they were going to stick with their identity. Because that's who Long Lake is, and that's who Long Lake wants to be. And I'm not sure. We might want to look. Who was formed first? Some may know, some may not. Orono was named after Chief Joseph Orono because Colonel Brackett out on Brackett's Point chose to incorporate Orono because he saw it getting eaten up by all the other communities, and he wanted to start his own community, and that's where Orono came from. Long Lake has always been here to an extent. The rail ran right through and other stuff. I guess I'm going to have to bone up on my history. I guess I am. Maybe that'll be another video at some point. But here we are back to Corn Days and St. George's and Long Lake, and how it's a breath of fresh air to be here. A complete breath of fresh air. Well, I have been attending this event for years. Like I said, since the 70s. Eating the corn. Got a couple other instances which really solidified my my attendance, let's just say, at this event. That might be a little embarrassing, and maybe some point in the future I'll talk about. But Corn Days has been a part of my life since I was a kid. Long Lake's been a part of my life since I was a kid. This has all been a huge part of my life, and I just love how it's still continuing, how it's morphed around, because it used to be Buckhorn Days years ago, now it's Corn Days. But I love how it's morphed around, but it's still continued, and it's still a big deal here. And I'm really sorry, folks. I really, really, really want to come. Really really want to come this weekend, but I have other things I have to attend, which is why I'm up here right now. Because Corn Days is going to be Corn Days. They're going to have the silent auction. They're going to have the bingo. They're going to have the band Saturday night. They're going to have the corn. Although it's like in an oven deal. It's not like when I was a kid and they would pull it out of that big old, they'd use drink troughs for cows. Brand new one. They'd fill it up with water. They'd boil it up. And then they'd throw the corn in, and then they pull it out of there, and then they would lather that thing with butter. Oh my God. As a 10, 12, 13-year-old, I could eat that stuff all day long. Now don't forget the silent auction too, and you can do that online. But what is happening this year that got my attention that I think I need to call out is the most ridiculous thing I've seen in neighborhood politics in years and years. And you got to trust the Turbine Guy. I have seen so many ridiculous things in politics, and I'm not even talking national. I'm just talking around here, that I think it's time to talk about it. And that is Orono Mayor Walsh. He has an ad he placed in the local paper. I'm going to show you right here. Carrying it around. Hold on. It says right there, "Welcome to Corn Days. Denny and Amanda Walsh family, Orono Mayor, FDK Properties." So, we have this ad right there by the Orono mayor, welcoming everybody to Corn Days, which is great because that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to welcome everybody to Corn Days. But what do I find as just silly? People here in Long Lake do not like the guy at all. And I don't have to talk to all of them to know that. He is right now trying to take over the fire station, which has people here not very happy. They already said years and years ago when I was on the council, we still want to be Long Lake. Well, Dennis Walsh is trying the best he can to steal their identity. Steal Long Lake's identity. How crazy is that? Who does he think he is? Dennis Walsh is not a member of this church. Although, if Dennis Walsh were a Catholic and a member, at least he could go to confessional in there and confess his numerous and multiple sins and get a little absolution off of it. Maybe a few Hail Marys and other things, and maybe we could all move forward. But that ain't going to happen, folks. Dennis Walsh has nothing to do with this church. In fact, Dennis Walsh has nothing to do with Long Lake. Dennis Walsh has never been a piece of Long Lake. He's never owned a property here. He's never owned a commercial. He's never owned anything. But he does want to take over Long Lake. At least in my opinion. That's what I see. I mean, I can't figure any other actions than that for what he's doing. So, as my kids would have said, I don't know, my daughter had to have been about 9 to 11, so maybe 10, 11 years ago, Dennis Walsh is redonkulous. Redonkulous. Really? You are going to welcome people to a city you aren't involved in, and you are going to welcome them to a church you have nothing to do with, and you're going to welcome them to a festival which maybe you've gone through in a parade on. That's it. Who the heck is he? Well, I know for doggone sure the people of Long Lake are not interested in hearing any welcoming from him because the people from Long Lake are much, 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 much more welcoming than he could ever be. The people of Long Lake are leaps and bounds above Walsh and what he's done with the Orono City Council when it comes to respecting their citizens and respecting the people. The people of Long Lake give me, the Turbine Guy, a breath of fresh air. That's what happens when I come here to Long Lake. Now, I had some trials and tribulations growing up, but it's always nice to come home and feel that feeling that you're home. Orono, they are not interested at all. Orono wants to make you feel like the enemy. But Long Lake is home to the Turbine Guy. Always has been. And, you know, I heard through the grapevine that when I ran for Senate, that Long Lake was one of the chief supporters of me in my bid. I cannot say enough to thank the people of Long Lake for supporting me. And you know what, Long Lake? I stand behind you. I stand behind St. George's. And I'm going to tell Mayor Walsh for you, you can agree or not, get the heck out of here. Let us have our celebration. Let us enjoy ourselves and keep your silly politics to yourself. And oh yeah, by the way, leave our G-damned fire department alone. Leave us alone. Be a part of the community. Accept us as your little brother, Orono. And let's all move on. There you have it. I just wanted to come up. I couldn't believe Walsh is trying to welcome people. When I saw this gift he gave to me in the local paper, I just had to come say something. Talk about something else I remember as a kid every day. There we go, folks. This is Turbine Guy at peaceful Long Lake, waiting for corn days and hoping the Orono mayor stick his nose in his own business. Turbine Guy, signing off.